to try to maybe make a third line.
This race still very undecided.
The bottom lane just doesn't have enough cars now. The rules have been reversed.
They're running out of time and they know it.
How about Noah Mikulski in the L3? He did his hand in this battle. The bottom surges to the inside. Now pulls even with Hutton off the turn number 2.
900 horsepower at their feet.
Banks doesn't have a push. Hutton, can he do it off of turn 4? Right, giving him another push. They stack him to the outside. And the line, checkered flag, big surges to the bottom.
Far removed from the cornfields of Iowa after a wild finish last week that saw Michael Sturgill get his first career Saturday Night Racing League win. A monster looms in the distance. It's Miles the Monster. We're here in Dover, Delaware at Dover Motor Speedway. The penultimate race of the season. 2 more to go, including tonight. And Jeff Wright has his hands on the title. But Joseph McWhorter won't go down without a fight. This is Saturday Night Racing League, as I said, live from Dover, Delaware, excuse me. Hi, everybody. I'm Connor Horn, here with Bradley Cooper for another wild race for sure. We got a great field tonight. No surprise that our championship leader, who's been the guy all season long, Jeff Wright, is starting on the pole. But we got plenty more drivers still in line to try to race for this one, including maybe Adam Cabot, who's trying to get into the server a little late. But we have so many heavy hitters tonight, Bradley.
Yeah, I really hope that Adam Cabot can make it in here because we talked about how dominant he is at this racetrack. And if Adam doesn't show up, it could be a Jeff Wright show. Qualifying out here on the pole here tonight is the number 48. Adam Cabot making it out there just in 17th position, so he's going to be driving from the back of the field. Kind of like what we saw last week with Jeff Wright. Dominated most of the race, but there's a chance he could end up losing the whole thing at the very end.
Yeah, Miles the Monster is hungry. As you can see, he's got a car from 15 years ago in his hand, actually, so we might have a newer car in there soon enough. But high banks, high speed, high action rate at this track. 160 laps around this racetrack as we're getting the command right now. This is Saturday Night Racing League. Like you said, right there, 160 laps, 160 miles here at Dover Motor Speedway now. Second to last race of the season. Coming in tonight, the championship battle is really as tight as it's been since the very beginning. It did not fluctuate last week. It's now still a 21-point lead that Jeff Wright has over Joseph McWhorter. No one else is really in sight. Michael Sturgill moved up to 3rd, but he's still 48 points back. So it's really the 48 and the 73 who we're going to be looking at for this driver's title, with some other guys like maybe Stravato, maybe Adam Cabot, maybe they can get some wins to close this season out. But it's really just McWhorter and Jeff Wright for this fight. And as you can see, Jeff Wright's got a pretty good margin over McWhorter to start this race. At 73 starts back in 9th.
Let's take it down there trackside for your grid. Starting on the pole, Jeff Wright, 23.110 to Chad Klinger's 23.147. That's a couple tenths, 300ths of a second, actually, separating those two drivers. Next row is going to belong to Joshua Banks with Mark Whitley in 4th. Row number 3, Bailey Turner, Angelo Horonis in 6th. 7th, Christopher Tate with Eric Hutton in 8th. Joseph McWhorter and Jonathan Smith to round out your top 10.
And then in the back half of the field, last week's winner, Michael Sturgill, he'll start 11th alongside Jonathan Cofield, who comes back to start 12th tonight as we get 1 to green. 13th place, Eddie Trejo, little controversy around him, the yellow last week, but he'll start tonight once again. Ryan Carwile, who was not, he had a great run last week before an incident. He starts 14th. Max Cost, 5th in points coming in tonight. Great season for him, starting 15th. Austin Belkey, that's his name. We're going to pronounce it that way. Austin Belkey starts 16th. Adam Cabot did get in tonight. He's dominant here. He'll try to get to the front quickly, starting 17th. Stravato starting 18th alongside him. And then 19th place, 20th place, rounding out the top 20, Chuck Sweeting, Caleb Woodley. Then we have 3 more positions rounding out this field. Bryce Shoemaker in the 12, Mark McFadden in the 71, and then 23rd place. It was going to be the number 97, but he hasn't loaded in. It was Gary Smith, but we'll have 22 drivers starting tonight as we come into turn 3.
So pace car gonna pull off this time. If you guys are as excited as I am, the second to last race it's down to 2 drivers, realistically, and the guy that's trying to win the whole thing is starting up on the pole. Green flag up in the air. Let's get ready to go racing at Dover Motor Speedway, Saturday night racing style.
Guys are going to come out at turn number 3 and 4. Jeff Wright already out to an early lead here. Banks gets up the second. Jack Klinger actually tapped the wall coming to the start, but he settles in the 3rd position. We're already 3 wide almost in the back. Adam Cabot's up 3 positions. Make that 4 positions in 1 lap.
He's turning them up quick, but I can tell you the run he's getting off the corners, if anybody makes a mistake and hits that turn exit wall in 2, Cabot's not going to have the opportunity to dodge him. He's coming that fast.
Yeah, that's how quick he is tonight, and we'll see how long it takes for him to get to that 40 to Jeff Wright. Wright, Banks, Klinger, Bailey, Turner, Mark Whitley, as majority of the field already single filed out. It's really only Eddie Trejo in that second line. He's dropping already a little bit early. Ryan Carwell getting around him. Here goes AJ Shavado, who didn't put a qualifying time down, trying to get under him as well, as everyone trying to wrap the bottom and keep the tires on it. This is going to be a tough night for tire conservation because of the high speeds at this track in the corners. That right front is going to be begging for mercy all night long as Turner gets under the 09 of Chad Klinger.
Watching Bailey Turner go by, it looks like he's having trouble getting around the 09. The 77 is going to try to follow suit. Patson on the bottom of this racetrack. It works for a couple laps, but these tires on this concrete surface, they wear out quick. Very abrasive out here.
Yeah, we're going to see that come into play for sure. We'll see some early pit stops because of the tire wear, as still trying to look at Cabot's progress up through the field. He went 3 wide for a moment under Jonathan Smith and Christopher Tate. Tate's gotten away. Meanwhile, Bailey Turner's away for 3rd over Mark Whitley, but look at those top 2 rocketing away from the rest of the field. Joshua Banks, great short run pace as usual from this 35, but can he do anything on the long run compared to the 48? That's always where the issue lies.
Yeah, and this would go back to what I said about the abrasiveness of this racetrack. It's so easy to overdrive and run your tires out. For lap 15, you could be sitting so tight you can't even come off the corners. And Jeff Wright with that clean air, he's got the advantage right now.
Yeah, the clean air at a track like this with the high speeds is going to make a difference. About the top 10, really go back to 15th, and we're single file until we get to the battle for that 15th position. Max Cost and AJ Stravado side by side. Big wiggle. That was Caleb Weekly. He's able to save it, keep it straight. And Taylor Swift Impala, as he's ran a few times this season. And Stravado got clear. That was for about the 15th position. Ryan Carwell gets 16th from Cost, so the 63 also going backwards here, back 2 positions from the start. And if you go back to the front, Joshua Banks is still hounding Jeff Wright. He's on the bumper.
Yeah, looks like Banks might have an opportunity here. This isn't one of Jeff's best tracks. We know this, so there might be an opportunity. This fits more in the wheelhouse of the 35. You can think of it as a larger Bristol. The surface is the same, and the drive off in the corners. The only thing that's different is you can run the load line here, and pretty much the entirety of this race, these guys are going to double apex. They're going to diamond in low into the entrance, and then on the exit try to come out as low as possible and get that turn off and avoid that wall. Here's what maybe a pass, a little peek to the inside for Banks.
Meanwhile, in the background, Mark Whitley gets back by Bailey Turner for 3rd. Looks like Turner just gave it to him, but now the battle is still for that race lead. Banks gave a look to Jeff Wright, showed the nose, let him know, hey, I'm here, I want to go now. But Wright's not going to give it to him just yet. That's going to be 10 laps by already. And Jeff Wright's been out front for all of them, but these 2 are already about 1.3 seconds ahead of 3rd place Mark Whitley, as we're already pretty strung out. There is a battle for 12th. Jonathan Smith, Jonathan Cofield, battle of the Jonathans at a turn number 2. Right there, Smith up the racetrack. Here comes Chuck Sweeting, the challenge.
The 58, the 72, and the 75. Trying to duke it down just outside the top 10. Cofield does get the position away from Jonathan Smith. Now Sweeting on the pass here. He's going to clear him as well. So down 2 spots for the 72. He's actually down. Had this information saved, and apparently APO deleted it. where he began this race, I have no idea.
So, well, he did start 10th, I'll give you that. He's down to 13th, so down 3 positions. We've had a few drivers drop back from the start, but we had our big movers, and it's no surprise Adam Cabot might be our biggest mover. He's up 7 positions from the starting position. Chuck Sweeting's up 6 positions. Trying to look at AJ Travado, he's moved up 3 positions. Guys like Eddie Trejo back 6 positions. Jonathan Smith back 4 positions. And Michael Sturgill trying to look at anyone else who's gone backward. Chad Klinger started 2nd. He's back 3 positions. But, you know, at the front, that battle's kind of scurried away from each other, right? Putting a little bit more of a gap on that 35 of Banks at this point. And it's only lap 14, but keeping your tires on for the long run could already be paying dividends as Wright continues to pull away. And Mark Whitley's continuing to try to chase down both of these drivers.
And Whitley, he's shaved about, I don't know, 3/10 roughly into this lead. Banks has fallen off 3/10, so he's definitely going to catch up to the 35 at this pace.
Yeah, I think he'll definitely get there as we've got some battling in behind. Eric Hutton, Joseph McWhorter, Michael Sturgill on top of one another. McWhorter still in the title fight as we talked about at the very beginning. He gets a clear from both those drivers. Sturgill, he's still got that paint scheme from last week on the car. Maybe he thinks it's good luck, but he's trying to get some luck to get around this 88 to the inside of Hutton. He's able to make the job done, complete that pass, and Hutton has nothing to fight with on the top side. No run there so far, as behind them, Adam Cabot's already into the top 10.
And Cabot did that in about 16 laps, so that's pretty good. I mean, we know that this is Cabot's track, but he made it a lot harder by barely making the grid in time. He wasn't able to turn a qualifying effort, so the 17 has his work cut out for him. Let's see how much he loves this place, passing 20-plus cars.
I think he's going to enjoy it, actually. I think he loves the challenges. I love seeing the rubber being put down. Look at that black streak out of turn number 4. We are only 17 laps in, and it is absolutely covered on the X's of these corners, but especially out of turn 4, these drivers are sliding it, laying all that rubber down. As look at this hornet's nest out of turn 2. That's going to get tight, but I think McWhorter gave the spot to Sturgill there. He's starting to go a little bit backwards here after going forwards early on.
That's easy to do. Maybe burn the right front off of it. It's like he's getting a little tight. Now he has Eric cutting on the back bumper. Flip to the inside here. The 88.
And surprisingly, he went to the top side. I don't know if he was giving that to Hutton or he's trying that line, but it's not working. He's back another position, back to his starting position in 9th. And you go up the track again. He'll give it to Adam Cabot, puts Cabot up a position, and Christopher Tate making his first start of this Saturday Night Racing League season. Did not note him until just now, but he's in that Target Dodge Charger, and he's going to work his way around the driver's second in points, who's dropping hard here.
I've just been informed that we're having some audio issues. Very unfortunate. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and if we can try to sort this out. And we'll be back. You're watching Saturday Night Racing League live on V-Speed.
the most realistic online racing sim ever made.
Still working with some difficulties here in Dover Dell, where but the battling's still been intense. The battle for the lead is pretty much done. Jeff Wright's driven out to a 2-second race lead as Adam Cabot's still ravaging through this field, getting by Michael Sturgill, who's working his way around Bailey Turner. And in the background, they're still scrapping for 9th on back with Joseph McWhorter, AJ Stravado, Ryan Carwile. All sorts of things going on so far right now.
Well, let's see if my microphone's any better tonight. I don't know for sure. It might be the limit gain. I don't know. So we'll have to wait and see. I know things have been choppy, so we'll play it back. If this isn't fixed, I'll just let Connor do his thing. I'll let him cook.
Yeah, let Connor cook. That's something that's never been said. Besides when I make pepperoni bread, that's usually good, but not the point. Point is Jeff Wright is unsurprisingly dominating right now. At a turn 4, you can see that is the gap to Joshua Banks. It is up to nearly 2 seconds. Not quite 2 seconds, but he's gaining big time. And Joshua Banks, he's still clear for second. Mark Whitley is closing in, but not by much. But really, the eyes are on Adam Cabot. He started 17th. He is already up to 4th in 30 laps of racing. He is on a charge, and he's only 4.3 seconds behind Jeff Wright.
So I got the clarification that it's better. And now I just want to make sure it's balanced. I guess this is one of those things that I could have went back and tested, but I failed to do that. High five for procrastination. How about that?
Woohoo! Oh, that's my number one thing. It's procrastination. Procrastinating on making an intro for tonight, and I just kind of winged it. But that's how we do things here. As I think the intro went pretty well. With 32 laps in, just about. Wright, Banks, Whitley, Cabot, and Sturgill, the top 5. As Sturgill was pulled away from Bailey Turner for that position. Things are really stacked up. We got a pretty firm line from Bailey Turner all the way back to Angelo Horonis, who's making another start. He's in 13th. But meanwhile, it's still Joseph McWhorter going backwards, as he's now been passed by Stravado, and looks like Ryan Carwell is going to make the move as well.
Yeah, it looks like McWhorter's struggling to keep the right front on it. He's getting tight, and everybody's getting underneath of him on the entries and the exits.
Yeah, it's definitely an issue, and we don't know how far away from stops we're going to be. We went pretty long at Iowa last week, but a lot more on-throttle time at Dover, so I believe we'll definitely be in 2-stop range, I think. I would not be surprised if next 20-25 laps we see drivers diving down, but for now, most of the battle's starting to subside just a little bit, and that gap for the lead still climbing. It's 2.3 seconds right the Banks is. Mark Whitley starting to make a little bit more inroads on that 35. Also side by side, excuse me, Bradley Eric Hutton and Christopher Tate. He's another first starter this season, and Tate's going to take the 7th position away.
And Christopher Tate in the 30s, he's running that, looks like a Casey Mears throwback. Only thing missing is the 41 on the side of it. And it's a Dodge Charger at that.
Yeah.
Don't see too many of those out on the racetrack.
And he's definitely the only one. So we got one Dodge Charger and one Subaru Impreza. So
yeah,
those two
Carlisle,
manufacturers.
they're rocking the Impreza all season.
Those two manufacturers are even. We do have a Dodge, but it's more like an Intrepid for Bryce Shoemaker. He's back in 17th. He started 21st, so he's up 4 positions in that 12 car, but still yet to make more inroads on Jonathan Smith ahead of him, as that battle for second is starting to become an actual battle. Banks really struggling on this long run, but he was so good on the short run. He's still solidly inside the top 3, but that 77 is carrying a lot more speed through the center of the corner at this point.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to probably be there in about 3 or 4 laps. You're seeing the lead shrink down. Well, not the lead, but the gap. The lead is growing.
It is
Jeff
growing,
Wright,
yeah.
3 seconds almost.
Yeah, it is growing big time. Yeah, big wiggle. I think that was Tate in the background who wiggled big time. That is still a pretty big Hornets in that 6th on back. Turner is getting caught by Christopher Tate, but Tate is getting so sideways off the corners, he can't make anything happen.
Ooh.
Turner's sideways off the corner. The rear tires are cooked on these drivers a quarter of the way through this race. Turner, Tate, Stravado, Eric Hutton in this battle as well, as Stravado's all over the back bumper of the 30 out of turn number 2.
They get the run off the turn 2. I think Stravado gets that big run because the 30 has nowhere to go. Tate just can't get to the inside of Turner here. And Turner, another loose moment. He's going to dive it down to the bottom to catch it.
He's going to give the top side to Christopher Tate here. I think that might have been by design, But Turner not going fast right now, as Travato's going to go to the outside of the 24 as well, as Mark Whitley from third is going to go into pit lane. So 40 laps, lap 40. Sturgill's going to come in. Turner, Carlisle, Horonis. This is going to start our green flag pit stops here for sure, as Tate got a really bad run out of turn 4. Here comes Travato to the bottom.
So side by side, this is for the 4th position. Adam Cabot has worked his way into 3rd. So it's really interesting to me. You see all the positions gained and positions lost. The only thing that's been consistent in this top 5 has been Joshua Banks and Jeff Wright.
Well, here comes McWhorter. He's going to pit lap 41. This is something we didn't really touch on.
This is the wall. That was the 30. Hard hit to the outside wall as Travato goes by. Sorry about that.
Yeah, all good. He hit it again, but I think he's still all good. We didn't really talk about it, but this pit entry is the hardest on the NASCAR circuit. Definitely the hardest on the Saturday Night Racing circuit, as Jeff Wright just locked him up coming in. I don't think he sped, but we'll see. Joshua Banks almost hit the barrels. Eric Hutton completely missed it, and he's sliding on the apron. As you can see him at a turn 4 there. We did not touch upon it. We really should have given it the respect it deserved. This is the hardest pit entry on the circuit, and you can see why.
On board here with Eric Hutton. And
Trejo.
nope.
Yeah, that was not going to happen. Then he had to not wreck the thing, so great save without costing some time. Trejo's in from 12th. Adam Cabot, he did lead a lap. He'll come in next time by. Hutton does come in this time much more cleanly. We'll see how these pit entries really shuffle things up, because there's going to be a big variance of how much time all these drivers made up. Like Travato's going to come in this time. He's yet to pit. Christopher Tate's going to assume the lead for the time being. The 33 stays on the apron. Very slow entering, not willing to make a mistake.
I mean, you can take it cautious, or you can try to overshoot it like Eric Hutton did. Either way, you could lose some time. Hutton, I think, lost the most there. And how about Banks? I didn't get a replay of it, but Banks definitely almost hit the wall. So Christopher Tate's going to stay out the longest. He's going to lead a lap. He's got Chuck Sweeting just behind him. And it's Belkey, correct?
I believe it is Belkey. That's what we were told by Jeff Wright, but let me look at it again just to make sure. It is Belkey. So Austin Belkey back again. Had a big wreck, lap 3. He only made about I think it was about 8 laps at Iowa he made it, but it's in contention. More contention this time as he continues to stay on the track in that 89 pick number DuPont Monte Carlo, but runs 3rd because Christopher Tate is still out there after running top 10 when everyone else was still on track.
Some of the drivers that had some troubles on pit road, Jonathan Smith, Max Cost, Eddie Trejo, all fall down 2 laps. So they had some issues with the entrance of pit. Say Eric Hutton with his sliding through mitigated the damage. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. He could have tried to commit to it anyway and hit the pit barrier.
Thankfully he didn't. That would have definitely brought out a yellow. We had that last week with Ryan Carlisle, but it did not bring out a yellow. Another pit stop. Bryce Shoemaker comes in, 47 laps in. Tate, Sweeting, Belkey, and Caleb Weekly, the last 4 drivers yet to come down to pit road.
So as it sits right now, Jeff Wright will cycle back out to the lead. Mark Whitley, who is about 2.5 seconds back, gets ahead of Michael Sturgill, Joshua Banks. Cabot actually had some problems on pit road. He had worked his way up into the top 3, and he'll be about 5th when this all cycles through.
I think that's just how big of a difference tires might make. He was one of the later drivers to pit, so it would cycle out to be Wright, Whitley, Sturgill, Banks, and Cabot. So Banks and Cabot probably the bigger losers out of this. Whitley gaining a position. Sturgill up a few positions pitting early. We still do wait for those top 4 drivers to come in. Actually, Belkey did come in, so just the top 3. Tate, Sweeting, and Weekly is in as well. So just waiting on Christopher Tate and Chuck Sweeting. Tate might have tapped the wall there again, as they actually are battling for the lead, but Jeff Wright just battling to get his lap back, which he does.
Yeah, and the longer these guys stay out, I think seeing Jeff Wright pass you, that's your cue to come in.
I would think so, yes. This is a big time loss doing this. Tate ran at 25.7. Jeff Wright was about 2 seconds faster than that at the time. Bye.
They're going to stay out another lap. maybe praying for a caution here, and I don't think it's going to benefit him. Tate, Sweeting, about a tenth separating these two. Now, Sweeting, with the rough season he's had, I think he just wants to get up here and prove that he can lead a lap, you know? It's been one of those seasons. I've seen the 75. I've raced with him before, and he's no slouch. He does not have... There's Tate coming down now, so Sweeting going to get the lap led.
It was actually a really good pit entry. I thought he was too fast, but he did a great job. So Sweeting will obtain the lead, the last driver to stay out. This would be a big deal if he got a yellow right now. Jeff Wright, Whitley got their laps back, but even still, you'd have everyone but 3 other drivers lapped if a yellow came out. So the gamble's worth it, but the risk versus reward, there's a pretty big reward, but there is a lot of risk because you might be a lap down once you come out. Once again, as Chuck Sweeting will finally make his pit stop 53 laps in a clean pit entry there. So finally, next time by, Jeff Wright will retake the lead.
So here's the 48 trying to outrun. He's 12 seconds ahead now. Plus my timing and scoring, yeah, it was broken there for a second. So it's actually about 3 seconds?
Three and a half seconds, as Tate's actually off pretty early. Actually, I think he's getting lapped there. Excuse me. So Tate's going to be a lap down, I believe, once he recycles out right past him as the 48 finally assumes the lead. And yeah, you could see there, Mark Whitley 3.6 seconds back. And then it's another 1.2, 1.3 seconds to Michael Sturgill. And then Joshua Banks and Adam Cabot just trying to recover from a little bit of a bad pit strategy there.
It looks like the 17 of Cabot does cycle back out to 5th. You've got Sturgill in the mix. After that win last week, his confidence level came back. I know he was considering not even racing the rest of the season there for a while, and comes back and gets a win.
Meanwhile, Adam Cabot, there's a position pass there. That's for 4th, so Cabot coming back through the field as quickly as he can. Banks could not fight that, but yeah, Sturgill has had a rough season. Although he is 3rd in points, has definitely not been the season that he would have liked, but I think that paint scheme change must have rejuvenated him at some point, and that 2-tire call was just crazy enough to get him the win. So as we're looking up for the 90, just got to put some races together. He can definitely be a bigger threat for the title next season. He's 48 back coming in tonight, but he's definitely a threat to finish 3rd right now. And we got a yellow caution on the track, and it's Eric Hutton totaled down the back straightaway. And that's going to bring out our first caution with a huge hit to the wall for that 88.
That car doesn't even have power to move on its own right now. It looks like it's stuck. Let's go back on the instant replay and find out.
He was running 11th at the time, but he was running as high as the 5th, and he's already got damage, I think, at this point. Maybe not. I thought he looked like he had damage, but he's all on his own at 11th. Gets loose in the middle of 1 and 2, and it looks like he's never going to catch it. Hard to the outside, and big hit to the inside. That'll definitely end his night. That was a huge couple of hits there.
I mean, he was chasing up the banking, that wall, just like it always does, snuck up and got him.
And the exits of these corners, with the way the banking is, it's almost like it's a jump out of the corners here, and it jumped him into that wall. That'll end his day. Like we said, he was running 11th. He was running in the top 5 earlier, but that will end his night. He'll become the 3rd retirement of the night, as we had Mark McFadden and Chad Klinger go behind the wall earlier, as well as Gary Smith, who did run some laps early on and park it. But we got pit stops under a yellow here. This is not what Chuck Sweeting or Christopher Tate needed. They needed that maybe 5 laps earlier. But Jeff Wright's going to come in the lead regardless.
Jeff Wright going to go with 4 tires. I think he'd be crazy to try 2 right now, only 60 laps into this race. There's the 17 of Cabot, though. Looks like he might have tried something.
I don't think so, but he will.
No?
He'll stay in 4th. He was 4th, so he'll stay 4th. I don't think any changes there. I think Sturgill might have gotten... No, Sturgill was ahead of the 17. So Wright, Whitley, Sturgill, Cabot, Banks, they all hold their positions. It works for McWhorter. He gets back on strategy. He was one of the early pitters. He'll restart 6th. And Christopher Tate was at least fortunate enough to get the lucky dog there. So he's not in as bad of a bind as Chuck Sweeting, who's going to have to take the wave around.
And you see Tate... I was a little bit confused there. I didn't realize Tate had went a lap down. It makes sense, though, because those guys waited so long to pit. I think pretty much with the way that they were trying to do the strategy, they were praying for a caution. It just didn't work out.
Yeah, like I said, I think 4 or 5, maybe 6 laps earlier, they were in a good spot to have the entire field lap. But yes, Tate gets the lucky dog. He'll pit this time. Chuck Sweeting, same thing. He got lapped, couldn't get it back, so he gets to wave around. A lot of wave rounds on this round, especially Koss, Sweeting, Bryce Shoemaker, Belkey, and Eddie Trejo and Caleb Weekly. So it's about 5 or 6 guys having to take the wave round on older tires here.
So still trying to play with some audio and play with some... You know, I don't recommend, if you're a producer of any kind, wiping out your hard drive. It had
That's
to be
something
done.
I would do.
I had to do it. Put a new processor in, and so we've got a new motherboard. All of that's tied to Windows, and it's a setback, but we'll get through it. I'd like to apologize to anybody that might feel like the quality's degraded, but it's all in the name of improvement, and we'll work out the kinks, we'll iron out the problems, the wrinkles, and we'll be back in tip-top shape here on V-Speed for the final race here for Saturday Night Racing League. So we're going to take another quick commercial break, try to sort a couple more things out, and we'll be back right after this. Back here live, Saturday Night Racing League at Dover Motor Speedway, as it's become known as. Jeff Wright, Mark Whitley, Michael Sturgill, Adam Cabot, and Joshua Banks, the top 5. And we're back underway. Jeff Wright doesn't get out to quite a jump there. He's going to have Mark Whitley on the back bumper here very shortly.
Yes, it's our first restart of the night. Whitley restarts on the bumper of the 48. It was Banks earlier, but now it's Whitley. It's going to challenge for the lead here a little bit, but not close enough to get under. And another yellow crash out of turn 4. Caleb Weekly and Max Cost have crashed on the exit of turn 4. Eddie Trejo there as well. Big crash out of turn 4, and our second caution just that quickly.
Max Cost, a lot of left front damage. Trejo looks like he might have face planted the wall. And Weekly, probably the least amount of damage, but looks like both front fenders are pinched in. Actually, all 4 corners of that car have been hit.
Yeah, big damage for really all 3 of these guys. Going to have damage that's going to affect them as we get the V-Speed instant replay here. Belkey was a part of this battle as well, and it looks like Cost is going to get burned by Caleb Weekly. Eddie Trejo had nowhere to go.
That was a hard hit there. It looked like Cost maybe lost the rear end, or I really don't know.
Looks like he's lifting because Belkey's pinching, and Weekly comes through and just does the old scoop and spin maneuver, as we'll get a good view off the rear bumper of Max Cost to see what this looks like. It's not going to look pretty, as here comes Taylor Swift right under the rear bumper.
I don't know, man. That just looked like Weekly just had such a run there on the bottom. I guess I didn't predict Cost to get run over, though, because Caleb's usually pretty good about seeing that happening.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting one. It just looked like with them being side by side, Belkey and Cost, there's just such a loss of momentum that, like you said, the 13 Weekly just had nowhere to go in such a big run. So that brings out our second caution. Just maybe about 17, 16 laps short of halfway, and those guys that got the wave round, like Chuck Sweeting, will all get their fresh set of tires to actually challenge pretty fairly to get back through the front, but nothing really changed on that restart. Wright, Whitley, Sturgill, Cabot, McWhorter, the top 5, and what I was going to mention on that restart is how this finally gives Adam Cabot a chance to regroup at the front where he should have started if he was here early enough to qualify, but he didn't have that opportunity, but he got all the way up to 4th, and now he's able to compete maybe a little bit more fairly to try to get this 48 off the top spot.
Now we saw Whitley hanging with the 48. Now Sturgill has his hands full with Cabot. And then McWhorter, who struggled in the long run, back up into the top 5. We'll have to wait and see because Banks is behind this. You've got a lot of guys that did really well in the first run. They're outside the top 5 now.
Yeah, a lot of guys back there that were really good. Carlisle, he's kind of stayed put. Bailey Turner was a little higher up, and he's now 8th. Stravado's climbed up to 9th. Horonis up to 10th. But the guys that were a little bit better, Christopher Tate, who got the lucky dog, he's in 12th. Chuck Sweeting climbed through the field, but he's only to 14th. Eric Hutton was top 5 earlier. He's our 4th retirement of the race after that big crash out of turn 2. Like you said, some of those guys who were a little bit faster early on need to make their way back to where they were. I believe we got 2 laps to green. Next time should be the one to go.
Yeah, these guys doubling back up, getting eager to go back racing. Let's see if we can find a driver here to talk to real quick.
Who should we go with? Look, we got a decent amount to choose from.
Looks like maybe had some problems here with the connection.
Oh.
All right, we're going to take another quick commercial break. I'll be right back. This is working out the kinks here on V-Speed.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Back here live, Saturday Night Racing League. It's been a struggle here tonight, but we're getting through it one lap at a time. We went back green at about lap 67, I think.
That's
68?
about right. Yep, nope, 67's good. Maybe 68, but we're good. And we're still green, and Wright is still leading. So you haven't missed anything there as we're about 10 laps away from halfway. Wright's led pretty much all of them. Whitley 2nd, Sturgill 3rd, Cabot still 4th, and it's Joe McWhorter in 5th. Needing to find something to go his way to stay legitimately into this title fight going into Atlanta. He's going to have to close this gap somewhat if he wants a realistic shot. But right now, it's been all Jeff Wright, just like it was last week.
You see Cabot back there in fourth. He's got to work around Sturgill and Whitley before he can even think about battling for the lead. Meanwhile, you have Joshua Banks, who falls out of the top 5. They're starting to gap a little bit on the 24 of Turner, and for some reason, it looks like my timing and scoring was broken there for a second. Doesn't surprise me. Everything else is. Bailey Turner actually in front of Ryan Carwile. Brushes the wall out of 4.
He did hit the wall a little bit there. He's in front of AJ Stravato at the current moment, so they'll battle for the 7th position. Stravato's been solid, just did not get a qualifying lap down, as now it looks like Stravato hit the wall entering the corner. And both of these drivers just not had the speed to get into a top 5 and compete quite yet. Stravato's shown flashes, just not able to get there yet as he still chases that White Claw machine down.
So 4 cars off the track, one of them electing not to start tonight. I believe that was
Gary Smith.
the 97, yeah, Gary Smith. So 76 laps. Jack Klinger off the track, Mark McFadden, Eric Hutton out of the race. And then Max Kost, who's trying to salvage the day here in 19th. He's 9 laps down. Unfortunately here for his 5th place in the points, not looking good.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Really, nothing he could do about the incident, but he's still getting repairs, and he should hopefully get back out there in a little while because the car does not look too damaged, but he will be probably a dozen laps down as we roll on to lap 76 here, closing in on 80 laps to go. Mark Whitley still keeping tabs on Jeff Wright in that Lowe's Impala, but just not able to make any moves quite yet.
So another side effect of getting kicked out of the session, ATVO is not going to have accurate statistics for any of these drivers if I bring up their name. So completely disregard the graphics. I got into the session late.
It is what it is.
We're just trying to get through it. I know that I knew there was going to be some bugs. We talked about that in pre-race before we even started production here today, that there was going to be something that messed up. Lo and behold, it showed its face on lap 65.
Yeah, but one of the bugs is whatever is going through my body right now because I have a cold, but we still roll on here. Once again, lap 78. Whitley did close the gap a little bit, but still not able to challenge right now. Meanwhile, Bailey Turner and Travato, they're still going at it. Turner will not give this spot up whatsoever. He's been bumper to bumper for about 4 laps as that Pride Lawn Care Impala is still all over Turner, looking to get clean air at the top side. Turner shutting that down. Then the 33 dives low and Turner shuts that down. So really nowhere to go. The speed's a little bit too high for that top line to really be a factor until we get to the big fall off.
Let's see if he can get the drive off too. It looks like that dirty air is actually keeping him from getting a run there. He's getting tight. And it looks like the 35 of Banks, the 73 of McWhorter, they're starting to pull away.
Yeah, they've been pulling away for a little bit at this point. McWhorter is trying to stay on the bumper of Cabot. We'll see if Cabot's saving or not, as he's just giving a lot of space to the 90 of Michael Sturgill, who's caught the 77 of Mark Whitley for the runner position as Turner comes off the corner, almost hits the wall, keeps it straight as we roll over to halfway. And you know what that means, Bradley, because I think I know what that means.
Yeah, I think it's going to get really loud. Find that volume button. And we're going to bring the noise, brought to you by Harpoon Design. by Harpoon Design. And after all that goes on, Jonathan Cofield now to the inside, getting by Christopher Tate, who has fallen back to 14th. Got back on the lead lap here for the 14, but unfortunately, looks like he's struggling in the midway of this race.
Yeah, not really able to get back through the field like we saw him do a little bit earlier. He started 7th. He got up a few positions at the end of that long run, but he's not been able to get him back after getting the lucky dog. But at the front, we saw some changes. Wright still leads. Sturgill's up to 2nd. It's Mark Whitley going backwards. He was 2nd when we brought the noise. When the noise ended, he's already back, I believe, to 5th. Joshua Banks gets by as well. So the new top 5, Wright, Sturgill, Cabot, Banks, and Mark Whitley, who's going backwards. Bailey Turner's up to 5th.
McWhorter also falling off as well.
I was about to say same thing. I was about to throw it to you as well. McWhorter has also been going backwards. He just does not have the long run speed tonight.
And I believe the 77 of Whitley and the 73 are teammates, so both of these guys struggling after about 10, 15 laps on these tires, they start to fall off.
You have to find something because it is looking like a long run race, but so was Iowa. And how'd that end? Green-white checkered. So you just never know what's going to happen, as Chuck Sweeting just made a pass on Angelo Horonis for the 10th position. Sweeting's also recovering from getting trapped a lap down. He had to take a wave around, then got a yellow to get tires, so he's finally at least back up to 10th.
So at the risk of completely falling through again, we're going to get a widescreen shot because I think that's what triggered it last time. Let's go back out here to the blimp camera, show you the lead. 0.3 of a second now. It shrank down. Sturgill is catching the 48 of Jeff Wright.
He is catching. Meanwhile, at the back, more positions being swapped. Bailey Turner getting by Mark Whitley in turn number 1. Whitley now getting passed by Stravato in turn number 3, but he's trying to pinch the 33 off. Not trying to go too far backwards, but Stravato clears out of 4, just barely across the nose.
Oh,
Turner in the wall.
hits the wall.
Luckily, it's not doing a lot of damage for these guys, but so many drivers so sideways, even down the straightaway. That's how big the horsepower, how big of a challenge the horsepower is. You can sideways down the straight line. But these guys are not getting it too hard into the wall. Whitley might have just done the same thing. He's up the track, loses 2 more positions.
A drop down in front of Chuck Sweeting to try to hold on to the top 10, but that 77 has fallen fast. From 2nd to 10th in about 4 laps.
It is not done quite yet, I do not think, as here comes Chuck Sweeting. Not too far behind him is Angelo Horonis, who's also catching. Here comes Sweeting for that spot, swoops to the bottom. Willie just has nothing to work with here.
I wanted to see what's going on. Andrew Tate, yeah. Christopher Tate, rather. And the 30 fell all the way out of the top 15. Way off the pace here. Let's go back and see if we can find what happened to him. Just came off a turn 2 and dropped to the bottom of the racetrack for whatever reason.
Wonder if he just wanted clean track, more clean track, didn't want to be in a battle. That was really weird. But all clear there, as meanwhile the battle for 2nd, it's already done. Adam Cabot into the runner-up position by Michael Sturgill out of turn number 4. So this is the battle we were hoping to see. Jeff Wright and Adam Cabot. I think we're getting ready to see what that battle could look like. They're finally 1-2 after 91 laps. Meanwhile, in the background, Bailey Turner, AJ Stravato. Stravato finally got by Bailey Turner. He's been working on that pass for about 20 laps. Oh, Stravato, big wiggle out of turn number 4, though. But Turner does not challenge back.
Yeah, he was completely sideways out of 4, trying to hold that thing down. He struggled to get around this whole time. Wouldn't it be a shame if he lost it coming out of 4 and gave it right back?
Thought that's what was about to happen, but Turner gave him the benefit of the doubt. I think he figured, all right, you've been trying so hard, I just won't fight it anymore. So Stravato's finally into the top 5 himself. That battle for the lead might finally be getting close. And Chuck Sweeting and Ryan Carwile have gotten into the 7th and 8th positions, as McWhorter is once again back to 9th with his teammate Whitley in 10th.
So into 3 and 4, looks like Cabot's going to have the run, gets right up on the bumper of Jeff Wright. And now as they come off of turn 4, possible
you got
pass
a crash.
for the lead. You got a
He
big
had a crash.
wreck.
Christopher Tate is destroyed going down pit lane, so he had another big incident. While this battle for the lead continues, there's a destroyed 30 machine, as he will be probably another driver out of this race. Meanwhile, this battle for the lead is too hot not to show. We'll get to Tate's issue in a little bit, but the first challenge for the lead in 95 laps, Adam Cabot to the bottom at a turn number 4. Wright trying to pinch him as hard as he can. Wright leads another lap, but Cabot is there.
Cabot probably going to get this position. He has a preferred line here into 1 and 2. Going to get the drive off, coming off the exit, and change for the lead. Not quite clear just yet.
You'll get him in
There
a
it
3,
is.
though. And this for the first time all night, after not practicing or qualifying, barely getting into the race after 96 laps. Our leader is Concrete Adam Cabot down into turn number 1. He leads Jeff Wright and Michael Sturgill as finally he got the job done. Now, I don't know if we'll be able to, but since the lead has swapped hands finally, we need to figure out what the heck happened to Christopher Tate to destroy that target Dodge Charger, because it was clean the last time we saw it.
Yeah, there, we're almost there. We're almost there.
We saw him drop back. He dropped back to 18th, and oh my goodness, completely missed pit entry.
Yeah, he hits the outside wall, and that's what we almost saw the 35 of Banks do on the pit stops under green flag. The 30 was already struggling, so that just kind of added insult to injury.
Yeah, that definitely ends the night. He immediately left. I'm not sure if that was a scheduled pit stop or he was going to park it anyways, but either way, the 30 out of the race, and he already becomes about the 5th casualty tonight, the 5th driver out of this race, not including Max Cost, who is still running 11 laps down, so that'll help his point situation a little bit. He'll get 1 spot there, but we're almost sorting out the top 10 or so. Bailey Turner right in front of Ryan Carwile for position. These two have gotten closer and closer, but the top 5 solidly Cabot, Wright, Sturgill, Banks, and AJ Stravato.
Well, I was just testing out the noise filter on the microphone to see if that was set up correctly. Anybody out there in chat heard me open up a beer? Well, I'll know if it's working or not.
That is a very good test, as Christopher Tate actually did put in YouTube chat, brain dead move. He decided to pit too late, so that is unfortunate, but we've seen that in the past, and we'll see it again for sure. Christopher Tate is not the only driver to do that. We've seen plenty
it's
of
an
Cup
easy
drivers
mistake.
do that. Yeah,
Easy
plenty of Cup
mistake
drivers.
here.
Meanwhile, battle for 3rd, that's going to change hands. Joshua Banks under Michael Sturgill for the 3rd position. You can see, I don't know, is that Sturgill or Bailey Turner? No, it's Michael Sturgill, as Banks gets by for that podium position.
It's both.
It is both. Only one counts, but the points count for Sturgill. Although Bailey should probably lobby to get half points.
Yeah, I mean, if he wins by a nose, that's Bailey's win, right?
I guess in that case, yeah, but he won by more than a nose last week.
Yeah, and that was a gutsy call with the 2 tires, and we had 3 drivers try it. It paid off for all of them, really. Jeff Wright, who dominated that entire race at Iowa, finds himself outside the top 5 for the remaining 3 laps. That's just how it goes here. I mean, you never know the outcomes of these races, and the most important lap led is the last one.
It was really the only race of the season Jeff Wright dominated and didn't win. He led all but 20 laps last week and barely ended up with a top 5. I believe he did finish 5th. Yes, he did, but dominant race like that doesn't get the win. It's definitely going to hurt, and it kept him from extending his points lead. It stayed the same compared to McWhorter, but he's looking in a better position right now. He's led the most laps. He'll likely, I believe he already did lock that up. He's McWhorter, his championship rival's 9th. Unless something crazy happens, it has, but unless it happens, he's looking very good going into Atlanta for the 48.
Yeah, going into Atlanta, the Legacy Atlanta, my preferred track.
Good Atlanta, yes.
Good Atlanta, as we'll be known to call it, not Atlanta Dega, as they drive around. That Gen 4 car, I don't know how it would handle. You probably still have to lift.
Oh, I
with all
don't
the
think it
power
would be
this
full
thing.
throttle.
No.
It'd be more fun.
Interesting. Yeah, it would be interesting.
I wish you could do it, but I don't think you can. But we'll contact Jeff, Chad, and whoever decides the tracks. We'll decide on the power. We can do more power, more speed. We'll have to see, but it's next week. You got to be there for it in case you're planning not to watch it. You have to watch it. It's championship finale. We'll get crown our first Saturday Night Racing League champion.
Sideways for Jeff Wright.
It might be the 48, but not if he's going to slide like that. Banks, this is kind of surprising. I didn't think he'd be challenged for 2nd, but Banks is going to go to the outside to try to make this pass after Wright slipped up.
He didn't really have a choice. It was either that or he hit him. So he ends up on the outside coming off at 4. Jeff Wright. It was a race-ending moment there. He's able to catch it and keep it under him, but here he comes off at turn 4. Now Sturgill into the mix. Gonna be the next one to maybe battle. The 48 car. After getting past for the lead, now he has dirty air. Looks like he's struggling a little bit here.
Just shows how important that air is as Banks up to second. Jeff Wright back to third and starting to struggle even more as Sturgill's going to come to challenge him for that position. Meanwhile, in the background of that, Bailey Turner is going backwards once again. Ryan Carwile is going to make that pass in the middle of 3 and 4. Slides up, crossover move with the 24.
Yeah, the 81 needs to turn on that all-wheel drive system if he wants to get past the 24. So a crossover here. That Subaru not able to keep up with the American muscle.
I don't think he has enough manufacturer support compared to the 24, but I could
No.
be wrong as
Oh,
Carwile's
sideways.
just going to... Well, Cabot's sideways, but I was about to say Carwile's throwing in a towel on the battle. He got crossed over. He's like, okay, I'm not even bothering with this. He'll pit. He'll open up pit stops. Mark Whitley, who went back all the way to 11th, has come down as well with about 50 to go.
So this is most likely going to be the last pit stop of the day. Barring that we don't have a yellow late in this race. We watched Adam Cabot coming off of turn 4 really sideways, starting to lose a little bit of ground here to Joshua Banks now. 1.4 seconds as they go into 1.
Shadow contender Joseph McWhorter's in. He pits from 8th. He'll try and undercut to try to get some track position maybe before the end of this race, but I would not be surprised if this brings in majority of the others. Doesn't look like Cabot's going to come in. It looks like Michael Sturgill's going to come in from 4th. I think Chuck Sweeting as well.
Lock up on
Wow,
the
that was
tires
close.
there, but he got it.
Oh, we're clean so far. The knock on wood, please. It's the scary pit entrance. Jonathan Smith clipped the barrels, but I don't think any damage was done pitting from 10th. You gotta hold your breath on this pit entry. Even when I go to Dover to actually watch the races, I hold my breath. It is so scary even looking at it. Travato's gonna come down this time by. And we look at the onboard from Jonathan Smith. Look at this. Look out. Oh, man.
Oh, no damage though. Well done.
No, it's not fun to watch. It's very, your heart just stops. At least mine does. But meanwhile, everyone's still clean. Cabot still leads 1.7 seconds over Joshua Banks. Banks all on his own here. He's pulled away big time from Jeff Wright, and this is just really surprising. He was so in control of this race before the first caution, but he has absolutely nothing right now. He has lost so much time.
Well, look at the surface. It's dark down there in the bottom. Maybe hunting for grip. I wonder if some of these guys will start trying a little bit higher line to try to find.
Comes
There's Cabot coming in now.
Looks like Banks will stay out. Good pit entry from Cabot. Fast but safe as Caleb Weekly came in just ahead of him. So that turns over to lead to Joshua Banks for the first time today, I believe, as he lets the drivers going 2 seconds lap faster by. That's Sweeting and McWhorter battling for position after they made their stops. It should not be too much longer until these guys come down.
Yeah, this one's accurate. First lap led there for
Here
the
he comes.
35. Now he comes down pit road. Jeff Wright going to follow suit.
Lock up from Banks, lock up from Wright. They both almost hit the outside wall. Bailey Turner not bothering to lock up. He's in cleanly. So almost everyone else back out there. This might have been everyone else. Trejo came in as well. He was the guy in 5th. Not sure if anyone stayed out. I think that might have been everyone.
Yep, that's the cycle. So as it all cycles through, I think you're going to see Ryan Carwile take over the lead.
Was one of the earliest pitters. He is out ahead of Adam Cabot, so that will be the case. I think the 81's out ahead. And second for now is Sturgill, but Cabot already ahead of Mark Whitley. He'll cycle out all the way to 3rd. So we'll see how long it takes for him to get this 81 and 90 out of his way.
We're talking about 4 or 5 laps difference in tires here, and we saw the fall
Oh,
off.
spin! Sturgill into the inside wall. Contact with Caleb Weekly. He keeps it straight. Doesn't spin it out, but big damage to the 90 with contact with Caleb Weekly.
This is coming off of
huge
turn
moment.
2.
Weekly down the track in front of Sturgill. Sturgill kind of having nowhere to go. He will not be happy about that, I don't think.
See it
He
from
made
another
it.
angle here.
He made a great save as, from his point of view, I don't think he expected Weekly to come down the track. We'll see how much damage that does to the 90, how much it slows him down. He loses a lot of positions from that. He went from 2nd back to 7th, likely to be 8th or 9th soon with Banks and Jeff Wright right behind him. But that opens the door for Adam Cabot to have no one in between him and Ryan Carlisle for the race lead, closing in on 40 laps to go.
2.2 seconds for the 81 of Carlisle, and he might be overdriving it a little bit as he actually picks up some time on the 17. That time by, they match lap times, about identical, 23.6.
It's kind of the same situation we saw last week with some drivers who pit a little earlier, coming to battle for the win before the late race yellow. And this week, it's guys like Carlisle and Cabot who pit, well, really not Cabot, but Carlisle who pit a little bit earlier. And you got guys like Jeff Wright, Joshua Banks who pit a little later than everyone else, trying to use the tires to the advantage of themselves going to the end of this race. With next time by, we will be at 40 laps of racing to go.
So as it sits right now, Jeff Wright falls back to the 8th position. Looked like he had a clean pit stop. Pretty identical times all the way across the board of 47 seconds down the pit lane for everyone. But somehow Jeff Wright ends up back here. Maybe he had some exit problems.
He was one of the later drivers to pit, and he did pit with Joshua Banks, so it does make sense that they lost a decent amount of time. They're 5.5 seconds off of Carlisle and about 3.5 seconds off of Adam Cabot. So this is the battle. Everyone's on sequence, everyone's pit, so this is a legit battle for the 7th position for the time being.
And you've got McWhorter ahead of this by about 3 positions over Jeff Wright. But what we saw with McWhorter late in the run, he's starting to approach that time where the 73 starts to fall off.
We'll see how hard he wants to battle when the 48 and 35 get there. It is pretty big. He needs to gain something on this 48 today, but even if that 48 with the laps led he's had finishes 2 spots behind him, he's probably going to either break even or still gain on McWhorter. So he needs something big to happen. He needs it to happen pretty quickly, as both, really all 3 drivers behind him are closing in, including Chuck Sweeting, who's found his way in the 6th position through all this.
And the struggles that we've seen with the 75 all season long, we've also seen some of this as well. Him up inside the top 10, several different races where he's had great drives, and then something dramatic happens that takes him out. Just terrible luck for the 75.
Whoa, really tight McWhorter, not giving Joshua Banks any sort of room in turn 3. That could have gotten ugly, but they'll go side by side for the 5th position. Down into turn 1. They're all these guys are catching Mark Whitley as well, who pit very early compared to the rest of these guys. But Banks, fresher tires, better line through 1 and 2, almost clear. McWhorter just trying to fight with everything he's got. He's fighting with his competitor, Jeff Wright, but he can't really do anything to make contact. Wright's going spinning. The 2 championship leaders come together out of turn number 4, and the caution's out again. The top 2, and Wright got hit again by Cofield. The top 2 in the championship fight come together at Dover.
Well, we kept talking about it. I guess it happened.
I didn't think it would happen. Oh, man. Let's get the replay on that. I did not think it would happen there.
I wouldn't think that it would be both the championship contenders.
Wow. Let's look at this again. McWhorter, I think, was trying to pinch. It's kind of an odd spot. I thought McWhorter took the brunt of the hit, but then here comes Cofield and a Horonis. I think Cofield was blocked by Angelo Horonis. He didn't have the good sight, so the 48 might have more damage than I initially thought, as that's a wild development. My gosh. Oh yeah, he did. He never saw Jeff Wright.
Yeah, there's nowhere for him to go.
So that changes things.
A little bit.
What that does, that puts Ryan Carlisle in a great spot. Cabot was catching him fast, but he could keep the race lead here with a good pit stop as everyone comes in. And now what does McWhorter do? Does he even repair that damage? He's got it depends on who's put at fault for the yellow as well. We'll have to look at that. But I don't think
that was tight.
I
don't know.
It's hard to say. We'll see what everyone else says, but Wright pulls into his stall. We did get word from Chad Klinger. McWhorter is getting the EOL for that. So they'll both be at the back. And meanwhile, that short-lived dream for Carwile goes away as Adam Cabot is back out ahead.
And unfortunately, even an EOL penalty, Jeff Wright's got a massive amount of damage here.
Yeah, both of them have big damage. Wright has left front, left rear damage. McWhorter, that right front is really banged up. It's really the only corner he has damage on, but it is a lot of damage. But thankfully, with new damage model, he should be able to get most of that out. But they're both going to be at the very back, and they're both going to have to try to climb through the field to outpoint one another.
So McWhorter's still on pit road. He's going to come back out here. Jeff Wright, these guys trying to stay on the lead lap.
They come out together. And McWhorter's still got plenty of repairs to do on that right front, I think. I think Wright got majority of his done besides the left rear, but that 73 is still very banged up.
Going to come back down pit road now. McWhorter's going
McWhorter
to go
will not.
back around. He's still going to end up at the tail end of the field, though. Maybe
Yeah.
trying to put a bigger gap in here.
Yeah, he'll have... I mean, Trejo's going to be in between them. But
Lights are still on the pace car.
just maybe could be a graphical glitch. I've had that happen before where the damage isn't what it shows, but I'd be shocked if it didn't look like that with the hit he took. So we'll have to see. Like we were just talking about, he needs to gain a lot on Jeff Wright tonight, a decent amount, at least half of it, to really be in fighting range at Atlanta. And that's going to be tough to do if that damage is what it is.
Yeah, if his camber, I don't know, he's actually waiting on the 48 of Jeff Wright, I think, to hit pit road.
The EOL.
Yeah, and he can't hit pit road because he came out ahead of Jeff Wright and stayed out.
Yeah, I'm
that-
not sure how that works.
Yeah, I guess the EOL penalty falling the way it did is actually going to hurt the 73 from trying to get that back to pit road. And his camber, that car is completely broke.
Yeah, it looks extremely messed up. Depends on where his wheel is. Hopefully, his suspension isn't messed up. He might be okay, but that thing is going to plow in the corners with right front damage like that, regardless of where his steering wheel's at. One person who didn't hurt was Adam Cabot, because two drivers who were kind of competing with him have kind of gotten out of the way. And Cabot, as we do get one to green this time by, will have some different players to fight with at the front. Carwile's going to be second. Mark Whitley's back up to third. Travado and Banks the top five.
The 17, the 81, the 77, 33, and 35. Jeff Wright back to 14th position. Joseph McWhorter with the EOL. And here we go, back racing for the fourth time tonight.
Here we go. Coming into the Geico restart zone, we'll have to watch the battle for the lead and the battle between the two title competitors through the Geico restart zone almost. Out of turn 4, Cabot's away. We're green once again with 30 laps of racing to go. Wide in the back, Sturgill, Travado, and Bailey Turner. They sorted out before the corner. Whitley's up to second. Carwile already back to the 4th position.
Side by side here for the 5th spot. Sturgill to the inside. Remember, Sturgill got into the back of Weekly, so a good recovery here for the 90.
Yeah, didn't really repair anything either. Whoa, sideways out of turn 2. Car in the wall in the background. That was Jonathan Smith. That's another position for Jeff Wright, who barely avoided that. Still wild restart here, but the 17's trying to scramble away from Mark Whitley, who almost lost it out of turn number 4.
There's Hronis to the inside of Sweeting now into 1. This is just inside the top 10 for the 8th position.
Aronis, haven't talked about him a lot tonight, but he's finally trying to challenge at this point. But Sweeting clears once again. Jeff Wright already back into the top 10, fighting Jonathan Cofield. And McWhorter just not able to make up the ground that this 48 has after the EOL, up to 14th only.
And it's looking like that right front is definitely plowing. You can see him coming off the corner. He's losing a ton of time, about a second behind now of Jonathan Smith.
He might need another yellow to repair more damage, but it's not looking likely to field single file out. Jeff Wright, nope, excuse me, Stravato dives to the inside of Bailey Turner. They almost come together. Turner and these two have been fighting all race long, not giving an inch, but it's been great to watch so far. Meanwhile, that battle for the lead not quite over yet. 25 laps to go this time by. We've seen all night, Mark Whitley has some short run speed, but like his teammates, he's not able to carry it for a long period of time. Turner to the bottom, Stravato not able to fight on the top. Although he will try.
Turner got a little bit loose, it looked like, again, coming off of 4.
Like it. Here comes Stravato, crossover, not quite. There he goes. Dives to the bottom, down the straightaway, and he should have this spot. Turner way up the track. I don't think he'll be able to do anything. He'll get a run out of 4, but Stravato's going to have that spot for good. Jeff Wright, another spot up. Passes Jonathan Cofield for 9th after they both got by Angelo Horonis.
I'm really surprised Jeff Wright, he got hit by Cofield, and it looked like on the damage model it ripped the whole back end of the car off, but it didn't really do too much to this car. It looks like it's still pretty fast.
Definitely looks fast, but getting rid of that rear bumper cover sometimes helps, so if it is gone, it might be helping him getting some extra speed. So up to 9th, over 4 positions over McWhorter.
77 in the wall, coming off of 4, or off of 2. Now Banks looking for 2nd position.
Yeah, I think if anyone's going to fight this 17, it's probably Banks at this point, but does he have enough time to get 2nd and go for the win? Closing in on 20 to go. The laps click off fast here at the Monster Mile, so these 3 scooting away from Ryan Carwile, just trying to find a way to beat Concrete Cabin. Had another change for position as well. Chuck Sweeting got by Bailey Turner for 7th. And now Jeff Wright will go after that position. Turner he hasn't had bad long or short run speed. He just hasn't had a lot of speed to really compete for a top 5 tonight.
Got a little off pace here for the 24, and he's been fighting with the 33 of Stravato, who is just outside the top 5, trying to catch up to Michael Sturgill in front of this. Jeff Wright trying to recover after the contact with the 73 of McWhorter. McWhorter getting the heavy end of the damage, falls out of the top 10. This could be the deciding race right here. Jeff Wright just has to get about 2 or 3 more positions. He could probably lock up the championship.
The amount of drivers we've been getting, we got about 23 tonight. And put in perspective, the lowest scoring driver last week scored 27. Sturgill, the winner, scored 47. That's about a 20-point difference. So even 20 points might be enough after tonight to clinch this title for Jeff Wright by just starting next week. So like we've been talking about, the 73 has had to gain more than he has been this week. It's just not looking very likely. But we do still have a battle on our hands. Oh, maybe he spoke too soon. Whitley up the track. The battle's for 2nd now. Banks season opening.
Whitley able to hold on to it, but this is about the time, and Banks follows him up into the wall in 3. This is about the time that the 77 starts to fall off.
He is trying everything he can to stay with Adam Cabot, but he just will not get close enough to make a move. Whether he wants to use the bumper or not, he just can't get there quite yet. It's going to take a little tiny mistake from the 17, I think, even at this point. Ooh. Big wiggle. Whitley is throwing it over these corners.
You gotta watch that hump coming out of turn 2. It's a big transition where the car gets light in the back end, and if you're still on the throttle, you'll see one of those maneuvers where you're chasing it to the inside.
Get the wall again. He's hitting the wall, entering a lot. He's trying to get the biggest arc possible, but he missed the corner there. Back season opening again. He's gonna get the run this time. Battle for 2nd is on, and he's gonna let him go.
So now Banks going to try to catch up to Cabot. We have about 15 laps to go as they cross the line now. It's the 17, Concrete Cabot, Joshua Banks, Mark Whitley, Ryan Carwile, and Michael Sturgill, the top 5.
The order went backwards big time there as well. He lost 3 positions in 1 lap. He's back to 16th. And Jeff Wright, I think he very well could wrap up this title at this rate, with McWhorter really struggling with the damage. And looks like even when Banks got the 2nd, he started to struggle. Adam Cabot starting to pull away a little bit here.
This is just outside the top 10. Jonathan Cofield getting passed on the outside by Angelo Huronis. Now has another car to the outside. That's the 72 of Jonathan Smith. In the closing laps here, the 58 car, who also got some damage in that last accident. Pretty minor stuff, but looked like moved out left front. The 72 in the wall. That's going to allow the 58 to pull away now.
That's one of the last battles on the lead lap. We have 16 cars on the lead lap. McWhorter is the last of those. Caleb Weekly still running 2 laps down. Everyone else, with an update, been behind the wall. Gary Smith only ran 10 laps, went out. Mark McFadden, Chad Klinger parked it. Eric Hutton, the hellacious hit out of turn number 2. He went out of the race. Christopher Tate hit the pit barrels. He was our 5th casualty, and then Max Cost parked it not too long ago. So 6 total drivers out of this race. It didn't seem like it, but the attrition rate got high around the middle portion of this race, as it seems like things have settled down, pretty spread out at this point. 11 laps of racing to go.
So Adam Cabot, half a second ahead of the 35 of Joshua Banks. We looked at we talked about the points graphic, rather, and I mean, Banks has an opportunity to possibly get up there in the top 3, but really it came down to Jeff Wright and Joseph McWhorter this week. You see the 48 trying to get back around the 29. Heronis works his way into 9th position. This might be mitigating the damage. 6 positions from 10th back to 16th. McWhorter, that heavy right front damage, looks like his season might be over with.
And you got to factor in bonus points, laps led, most laps led. That will definitely go to Jeff Wright, I would think. I'm trying to think of if there are any other bonus points. I don't believe there are, besides winning the race, obviously. But Wright is going to have a pretty big points gap going into Atlanta, and it will likely be start and he wins the title. That will likely be the situation unless something crazy happens, which we've seen. So we close out on 8 laps to go as the battle for the lead widening out just a little bit. Banks has been keeping tabs on, Whitley in the wall in front of Carwile, excuse me. That battle's for 3rd now. Also, the battle for 5th is hot as well. Stravato under Michael Sturgill trying to bring Chuck Sweeting on. That battle for the lead is about half a second at this point.
And maintaining the gap there for the 17 car. Battle for 5th has subsided. Mark Whitley, though, looks like he has all but drove the tires off this thing, just trying to stay ahead of Carlisle.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like he had enough of a short run to really make this work either by driving hard. He stayed with Cabot as best he could, but just too long of a run to really withstand it, but still able to hold off Carlisle for the time being.
It's coming up on 6 laps to go as they cross the line. The 77 of Whitley, who's getting really loose on the exits of these corners, tags the wall again. The 81 follows it up into it. And I think we're going to see AJ Servato in this mix before the end of this.
I would not be the least bit surprised as we close in on 5 laps to go this time by. Once again, that battle for the lead is non-existent. It is 0.6 of a second. Joshua Banks starting to lose touch with the Atlas Hair Products Impala as they take 5 to go, as they're still single file 3rd on back.
So the Subaru Impreza and the number 81 of Carlisle going to try to get a podium finish here. The second to last race of the season, the 77 holding on for dear life.
On the back, Michael Sturgill, Bailey Turner found each other, funny enough. That battle will be for 7th, as it looks like it is really stacking up behind Whitley at this point, as they will go side by side, Sturgill and Turner for the 7th position.
All the way up the banking here.
This is what McWhorter wants to see, if these two come together.
Yeah, he needs it. And McWhorter all the way to the 16th. He's about to go a lap down if they might catch up to him.
And you said Stravato get in that battle. He is in that battle. He's bringing Chuck Sweeting with him as they take 3 laps of racing to go. The 17 scooting away, but the battle for 3rd is between 4 drivers at this point.
So 2, almost 3 seconds separate Whitley all the way up, and now the 33 of Stravato dives it to the inside for the 4th spot. 33 probably going to get it here off of turn 4. The 81 way up the banking there, has to lift out of the throttle and now get some right front damage.
Oh, big hit into the outside wall. almost looked like he turned right, and he'll off to F4 completely out of the race to not cause a caution. So that was wild. And all of a sudden, we stay green. Whitley stays in third, and will come to take the white flag after that.
White flag out in the air. Concrete Cabot able to take the lead just past the halfway mark. Jeff Wright gets the most laps led, but the guy that's going to lead the last one, 1 second ahead of Joshua Banks. Adam Cabot coming out of 3 and 4. Your winner here tonight is the number 17. We should have picked. I think we both would have picked him.
Yeah, we probably would have, but Adam Cabot, Concrete Cabot, takes the checkered flag. Banks second. Whitley holds on for third. Stravato sweeping the top 5. Turner, Sturgill, Horonis. Jeff Wright finishes 9th. And the big story here will be that, as I believe, as long as he starts, he should be the champion. But we'll definitely focus first on Adam Cabot, who came here with no practice, no qualifying, barely had time to grid. And he leads 51 laps, close to the last 51 as well, as he gets a congratulatory tap from Bailey Turner and takes the Monster Mile, takes Miles the Monster back down once again. Definitely not the last time we'll see him doing burnouts at this track.
Post-race interviews with your top 3. We've got Adam Cabot, Joshua Banks, and Mark Whitley, who's able to hold on to third. We're going to take a quick commercial break. You're watching the Saturday Night Racing League at Dover International Speedway. We'll be back on V-Speed right after this.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Miles the Monster has once again been tamed by Adam Cabot in the second to last race of this season here at Dover Motor Speedway. It's the 17 on top once again, but we got more drivers to get to. Interviewing the top 3, Cabot, Banks, Mark Whitley on the podium, and we'll start with Whitley, who fought back after some pretty big controversy as far as he faced trying to get back through the field. He finishes third once again. He's down there with Bradley Cooper on pit road.
Yeah, the 77 of Mark Whitley able to hold on over Carlisle, Stravato. You had a bunch of guys stacking up behind you there in third position, but you're able to hold them off.
Yeah, I don't know. I was telling the guys in the waiting room, it's just like when I came out of the pits and was just kind of running like decent lap times, wasn't pushing it. I feel like I was doing good and I was doing decent speed on the long run. But when I get up there with Cabot or Jeff, it was like I was trying to get around them or to try to put pressure on them to make a mistake, and it was doing good, and then all of a sudden, like lap 15 come of the run, or 10, 15 laps, and it was just like the car just fell off a cliff, tumbled down it, and burned into flames. It was evil. The right front, it just became a dump truck. Would have turned better, I think. Thankfully, we were able to kind of hold on for third there, but that middle of the race, we weren't so lucky. Fall all the way back out of the top 10. So I'll take it, especially after at the middle of the race there, I was feeling really frustrated and think I was going to be outside the top 10. So I'll take a third.
But you said a dump truck. Would you think maybe a concrete truck would have been better out here?
Probably. It was just that, especially that one run where I fell off. I mean, it was evil, like super tight through the middle and just loose as all hell getting off the corner. And it was evil. And I don't know, maybe I need to do something different with the brake bias or some other voodoo magic trick that these guys have figured out. But it just didn't have really anything for them on the short run, and me trying to keep up with them, it just killed the tires. So top 3 is probably about as best I could have hoped for.
Yeah, and that kind of fit into your wheelhouse, though. We saw both you and McWhorter both kind of struggling here tonight on the long run, but you're able to get a caution there that put you at about a 25 lap window, and you hold on for third place. Mark, do you have anybody you'd like to shout out for tonight's performance in this second to last race of the season?
Yeah, shout out Brantley Harpoon Design. He was pulling spotter duty for all 3 of us tonight, me, Joe, and John. So yeah, I appreciate all the work he does with paint schemes and spotting job he does every time we have a race. Really appreciate him. Check him out at harpoondesign.com. Shout out to my teammates. I know Joe wasn't in the race he was really wanting. Him and Jeff got into it. Not really sure what happened there. Some people say one thing, some people say another. So I don't know. It sounds like they were real tight racing maybe, and sometimes Dover getting tight racing, Miles the monster will jump out and bite you. So tough luck for him. I think his championship hopes are pretty much all but shot now, unfortunately. But I know he's trying to finish strong, get second in points. So hopefully he can finish out pretty strong. And shout out to you guys for putting on an awesome broadcast. Should be fun to go back and watch. Hopefully a little bit less frustrating than it was for me during the middle of that race.
Oh, no, we were fully frustrated. Decided to wipe the hard drive and upgrade the PC. So for the first probably 15 minutes or so, you're going to hear some really stuttery voices, and it worked out okay. I guess
probably the voices that was coming out of my headset during the middle of all that.
It was broken here tonight, but we fixed it. You're able to hold on. Congratulations on the third place, and maybe we'll get to talk to Atlanta, Mark.
Yeah, sounds good.
Third place finisher, Mark Whitley, and the number 77 Harpoon Design Chevrolet. So moving down pit road, we've got your second place finisher. That's going to be Joshua Banks, and we don't have a camera here tonight. I'm kind of disappointed in you, Josh. You're one of the few guys that used it all season. But
dang it, I forgot about it, man. I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. I went through all that effort. It probably just would have been another thing that broke here tonight. So it's probably best that we didn't use it.
I hear you. Oh, jeez.
We had some problems there. About midway through the race, completely fell through out of the session. So any statistics that are on your screen right now. But for Joshua Banks, it's a dash for started. So you can tell me where you started the race tonight.
We started third,
Okay.
I believe. So
All right.
not too
Second
bad.
row. It wasn't bad.
No.
Bad. You up there challenging for the lead with Jeff Wright there at the beginning of this race. And then about, I don't know, a second or so off of Cabot, it looked like you were hanging with him pretty well there on the last run all the way up to the end.
Yeah, Cabot, obviously one of the better ones here of these guys at the track. It's just tough to beat him here. And I feel really confident in this track once I get it figured out with what car we're driving. And just with this tire model, you really got to save it at this track. The concrete just eats it up if you push it. So that last little run with Cabot trying to catch him, I was taking it easy, keeping pace, but then I tried to push it just a little too hard, trying to get closer. and we should have just waited and let the tires come in and maybe try to catch them, and put a fight to them. But that was the tough part. And then early on, I was still learning the car, and it bit me in the butt early by pushing it really hard, and I thought I was doing fine, but I learned it quickly that it did not work out because I think when we pitted that first stop, I was like 20% on the right front. It was abusing it the way I was driving it. So I had to reconfigure how I drove it, and luckily it helped turn it around and kept us in the top 5 and up in contention to win this thing, which it was tough. I knew it wasn't going to be, and but I'm thankful that we were able to keep second and be up here in the podium.
Yeah, it looked like there was a bunch of struggles between not knowing how far you were overdriving the car all the way down to getting on pit road here tonight. Looked like pit road entry almost bit you there with the barrels.
Yeah, it bit me last week at Iowa, or at least in BTDY, I believe, or it was either that one or last Saturday. I can't remember which race it was because we were both running Gen 4s then. But it bit me then, and I knew going in tonight, I was like, I got to watch my pit entry because this is one of those tracks that kills you on speeding. So luckily, I don't know how. I looked in my mirror and all my tires were smoking. So I don't know how he saved it, kept it under pit road speed, but my right foot was shaking on that last stop, and it was like I was a little nervous because you do it once and you're uncertain on the next one, and especially when you're up front like that. So I don't know how he did it, to be honest with you, but I'm thankful that it didn't bust me this time.
Matco Tools 35 going to finish second here tonight, looking just inside the top 3 for the points battle. Do you have anyone you'd like to shout out, Josh?
Man, just you guys up in the booth, always doing an awesome job. I love watching these things. I say it every time I'm up here. And then, of course, admins, every time I come up here, they do a great job with the league. I love racing these cars. Definitely something I'm learning still, though. Even though I know, a lot of it's high horsepower. I love that kind of thing, but it's still some learning to do. So thanks for these guys putting it on and doing a great job with the league. And also shout out to my YouTube channel. I'll be putting this race up if you want to watch my point of view of it. So thanks to the iRacer. Go check it out. Subscribe if you haven't. It'd be greatly appreciated. And we'll hopefully see you over there too.
Appreciate your time, Josh, and we'll go check that out. Thank you for your time, man.
All right. Thank you, buddy.
Second place driver, Joshua Banks here at the Monster Mile, and we have one more driver, and it was to be expected. We already knew the outcome of this race, so I'll let Connor Horn catch up in victory lane.
That is right. I am in victory lane, but it is Concrete Cabot. The name fits, but honestly, I thought, Adam, you weren't going to race. You had been saying you weren't going to race, but it seems like the momentum's on your side. You go fast on the track at Daytona in the Monday Night Racing League. You win that. You went fast down the interstate to get home. I hope you didn't get pulled over or get a ticket. I'm assuming not, since you got home. But then you get in, no practice, no qualifying. Took you about maybe half the race to get to the front, and then you led near the last 50 laps. How fun was that getting through the field and getting this win?
Connor, I got to say, I'm just as surprised as you are that I was racing tonight, let alone a victory lane. So this is pretty damn cool. I've never joined a session like that before and just hop right in and gone on to win the race. So this is probably the only track that I could get away with that with. It's pretty well known. This is my house here. Until someone dethrones me, Dover's mine. But damn, yeah, that was a lot of fun. First, I got to give a shout out to Jeff. Bailey also trying to help me. Both of them to get me logged in and registered for the race. I did, the real race probably was, I shouldn't say this, but the real race probably was on the actual public roads to get home. But made it with, I think, 36 seconds to spare. Hopped in and yeah, just went to work. I was a little bit nervous because I didn't know what the setup was going to be like. Loose, tight. I've never driven this car here, but Dover's pretty universal. For me at least, what works kind of works in every car. But with all the horsepower, I was a little nervous that I was going to get caught off guard by something. So I tried to sort of work my way up to speed, but still be aggressive and get spots when I could. But I think with just trying to get my computer set up so quickly, I had some issues. The iRacing went into windowed mode, and everything got all choppy for like the first part of the race, and then my force feedback completely cut off in the first. It was a little bit of a mess, but I needed that caution to kind of help me reset things and get the sim back full screen and get everything settled. But it wasn't that tough to get up to like the top 5, but then that's where I had to work pretty hard to make those passes. And Jeff Wright's pretty damn tough to beat anywhere, any track, anywhere in this league and pretty much any league, especially in this car. So I knew passing him wasn't going to be easy. So I was pleasantly surprised that me trying to back off on that long run we got a little bit behind the top 3 and build a run actually ended up working, and I was able to pass him there. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I definitely, like I said, was not expecting racing tonight, but yeah, to come away with the victory here, pretty darn awesome.
Yeah, it definitely was pretty wild to watch. I think you went 17th to 4th and maybe 30 laps even through the choppiness. And after you got the lead, had a restart, I believe. I think it was only one restart, might have been 2, but had a few drivers to hold off. Jeff Wright got caught up in an instant, so he did not get back up to you. But then you had Whitley on your bumper. Then you had Joshua Banks on your bumper for a little bit. How tough was it to keep the tires on it and also make sure they didn't have any sort of run on you?
Yeah, it actually wasn't. It was not easy because my strength at Dover for sure is the long run. The way I drive the track, I guess it obviously is tire saving. It just kind of feels like what my driving style leads to. But after 30 laps is usually when I can really take off on speed. But that last run was only 30 laps long, so I knew that I didn't really have that luxury to kind of save there. So I kind of had to up my pace a little bit and do things a little bit differently than I wanted to, use up a little bit more tire, and Banks was not far off from me tonight at all. He might have been second quick. I saw he got past Jeff on the long run that we had, and it's unfortunate that Jeff got caught up in a wreck because I think he, obviously he's fast everywhere and was fast tonight, so it would have been interesting to see how it played out at the end there. But yeah, Banks definitely kept me honest. I kept looking, and he was pretty much right at the half-second mark for almost that entire last run, and I kept waiting for the switch to kind of flip, whereas I knew he was pushing hard because, if I were in his shoes, I would be too. You got to push hard to try to get up to the leader, but, I was just waiting for that switch to flip where he would kind of fall back, and he did a little bit towards the end, but I definitely wasn't just sitting there riding the last run for sure, so he definitely gave me a good run.
Yeah, gave you a good run, but you pulled away at the very end. I think you won by about 1.3 seconds, 52 laps led. Anyone else you want to thank for this?
Just once again to Jeff. I really appreciate him wanting me to be here tonight and trying to get me logged in and all that. So the win goes out to Jeff right here, as well as Bailey Turner for helping facilitate that. So shout out to you guys for the broadcast, and I think this will probably be my last start. But then again, I said I wasn't even going to race today, so I won't rule anything out, but I do have plans next Saturday, and I believe the Saturday after I won't even be anywhere near Glen Gardner, New Jersey. So I'd be shocked to see me in the next 2 weeks, but like I said, never say never.
Well, lucky for you, there's only 1 week left, so if you can't make it next week...
That makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. All right,
if you can't make it next week, you're probably done. But you apparently went very fast on the interstate, so we'll see. But yes, definitely the last race next week. Might not see you again, but either way, you end the season if you don't come back next week with 2 wins, Darlington and obviously Dover. So 52 laps led, 17th to 1st. Congratulations to you. Have a good night, Adam.
Thanks, Connor. I'll see you guys next season.
We will see you there. All right, so just about wrapped up. That's our top 3 finishers. Adam Cabot wins. Just kind of shocking, but also not shocking because, like he said, he coined it himself. This is his house. It seems like whenever he runs here, he wins. And besides that, Jeff Wright finishes 9th, McWhorter 15th after passing Carwell after his incident. But I think we're about wrapped up as far as title fights concerned here, Bradley.
Yeah, it's looking that way, and we don't have a points graphic here tonight. I would like to apologize for that, but we can probably talk about the fact that Jeff Wright finished in the 9th position here tonight. Let's get your final results up on the screen here.
Yeah, let's get him right here. Adam Cabot, like we said, started 17th. He ends up the victor tonight. Joshua Banks stays put in 2nd. Mark Whitley finishes 3rd. Stravato up from 18th to 4th, and Chuck Sweeting 19th to 5th. A lot of big movers tonight. Point us down because you obviously can't see it on the graphic. Bailey Turner 6th, Sturgill 7th, Horonis, quiet night in 8th. Jeff Wright, a surprising 9th place because we thought he was done after the incident, but he still gets a top 10. And Jonathan Cofield, a solid top 10 night for him as well.
And Cofield being involved in that accident there in the last crash we had, still able to come up in the top 10. Jonathan Smith is going to finish 11th. Austin Belkey in the 12th spot. Bryce Shoemaker 13th. Eddie Trejo 14th. Joseph McWhorter, the second place driver in the points, going to fall all the way out of the top 10 to 15th. Ryan Carwile at 16th, Caleb Weekly 17th, Max Cost. He does get a few positions gained, but that big wreck that took him out about halfway through the race on lap 63 puts him back to 18th. Christopher Tate gonna elect to put it behind the pit wall, 66 laps down, I believe. Then we have 163 laps down for Eric Hutton, rounding out the top 20.
And our final three finishers, Chad Klinger parked early, Mark McFadden, same thing, and the 97 there, Gary Smith joined, ran 10 laps, also pulled off. So 23 drivers all started, but majority of the guys at the back half of this field not finishing, as that wraps up what we've done here tonight at Dover, and we only got one more week, a little bit bittersweet, but we are going to a wild track in Atlanta. Anything can happen. We could see a new winner, could see the same winner, but we're almost certain to see the driver of the 48 Jeff Wright hoisting the virtual trophy. But we'll just have to wait one more week to make sure that actually happens, as we're heading off for yet another race next week to round out this season. I'm Connor Horn with Bradley Cooper. Congratulations, Adam Cabot, with his second win on the season. We'll see you for the season finale at Atlanta. Have a good night, folks.
And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
The wheel gets burned!
Cabot, where did he come from? Here comes Dweck.
A push from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club. Try to maybe make a third one.
This race still very undecided.
The bottom lane just doesn't have enough cars now. The rules have been reversed.
They're running out of time and they know it.
How about Noah McCloskey in the 03? He did easy for this battle. The bottom surges to the inside. Now pulls even with Hutton off the turn number 2.
900 horsepower at their feet.